So you asked me the question of what is the role of human beings in this world? And I think the reason why you asked that question was also important. You said that 2 years ago you were looking around and seeing all the destruction and the disturbance and the loss of species and environmental crisis and things like that, and you felt that human beings are just hurting the world. So what is our, if so, are we useless? Are we dangerous? Why are we here? So I think to understand the answer to that question, you have to look back at the history of the universe, right? What is happening? What is going on in the universe? What is that history about? And where did we come from and where is it going, right? And then once you understand where we came from, what's happening, and where we are going, you can understand a little bit more clearly what is the role of human beings. So at the beginning of the universe, there was no life. And then very simple forms of life began and evolved very slowly. So simple life forms, plants, animals. But as those life forms evolved, the speed of evolution also increased, the speed of change of consciousness. And then we come to human beings. And if you look at human history, the changes that are happening faster and faster and faster. And human consciousness is also changing more and more quickly. So as we study that, we see that the universe is the story of the evolution of consciousness. And that it's not just the evolution of human consciousness, but all forms of life are evolving in consciousness. So we begin as an atom, then we become... So every single atom in this universe is also evolving. So that's what's happening. The universe is a place that facilitates the evolution of consciousness. So if you look at it that way, human beings play a very significant role because we are speeding up the evolution of consciousness. And that's what the universe is about. And you can ask questions like, the number of animals are decreasing and the number of human beings are increasing. Maybe that's related because if you believe in reincarnation, nothing dies. It just changes into a new body and a new form. So maybe the animals which are leaving the animal form are becoming the increasing number of humans. They are shifting from animal life to human life. So that's one possible answer to that question. So it's part of the whole picture of, eventually a plant will become an animal and an animal will become a human being and human beings will become something else also. So you can think of another interesting role that we all play, a very natural role, is we eat food. We transform that food into energy and into mind, and we also transform that mind into consciousness. So one role of human beings is to transform food into consciousness. Okay, and we probably do that better than any other machine. Any other form of life doesn't transform food into consciousness quite as effectively as we do. So maybe our role in this universe is this food into consciousness transformation machine. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So yeah, the story of the universe is this transformation of consciousness, and we are playing a huge role in that. And at the moment, we are making a lot of mistakes, right? And we are causing pain and suffering to ourselves and to nature and other creatures. But that's how we learn. We learn by making mistakes. We learn by pain. We learn by suffering. We learn by crisis. If we think about our own personal lives, changes, wisdom comes as a result of mistakes, pain, suffering that we cause to ourselves and to others. Now, in my view, the main mistake that we are making, which is causing this pain, is that we don't recognize what we are really looking for. And what we are really looking for is absolute happiness. And because we don't understand that, we are trying to satisfy the desire for absolute happiness with non-absolute things. We are looking externally for happiness, and you can't find absolute happiness externally. You can only find it spiritually and internally. So the crisis is a learning crisis. We have to learn that on the physical level, if I look for my search for infinite happiness, if we try to express that on the physical level, it will come into conflict with your search for infinite happiness if you are looking on the physical level. So we are in a finite world looking for infinite happiness, both of us and all of us, all 4 trillion or however many we are now, looking for infinite happiness in finite resources. Obviously, that's going to create huge problems, suffering, war, conflict for everybody. Right? So we have to learn what we are really looking for, which is absolute happiness. We have to understand that we can't find that in the material world. We have to look in the right place. So we have to develop ourselves, our consciousness spiritually, so that we can satisfy the happiness that we can find the happiness that we are looking for. And then, once we can find that happiness that we are looking for, we can also do what will really make us happy in the physical world, and that is to share, to cooperate, to love each other, to take care of each other like brothers and sisters, to take care of the plants and the animals, and to create a world that is helping all life to evolve, right? So we are supporting the animals, we are supporting the plants, we are supporting each other by sharing and cooperating on the physical level, and we are meeting our needs for absolute happiness on the spiritual level, which is the right place to do it. It's the right place to find it, and it will help solve our conflicts with each other. So that's what I think our role is on the collective level, our role as human beings. We are playing a useful role. If the purpose of the universe is to evolve consciousness, we are playing a very, very useful role. We just have to, play that role in a more mature, more enlightened, more aware way. But when you ask a question like, what is the role of human beings? You have that big answer. The role for all of us is the same, to evolve our consciousness and to help others evolve, to help myself evolve my consciousness and to help others, support others also to evolve, to create a world where that can happen. But we are all different also. We are unique, right? So I think your question also is relevant to, okay, well, what's my role as a person in this world? And I mentioned a very interesting Japanese philosophical approach to this called ikigai. So I'm not an expert. I just read a little bit about it, but I thought it's a very interesting and nice idea. So what ikigai says is that we can find our personal role by asking 4 main questions. First is, what do I really enjoy doing? And second is, what am I good at? And the third is, what does the world need? And the fourth question is, what can I do that will earn me a living? And to see if there's some intersection. Can I find something which I enjoy, which I'm good at, which the world needs, and which can make me money? I think that's a very sensible approach. So that's one way to think about your personal role. I think another aspect that may not help so much to find your role, but will also help you understand, why am I in this role that I find myself in? You know, I got born as a Japanese, or I got born as a Canadian. I find myself in a certain situation. Why? And to understand that, I think it's helpful to understand the law of karma, right? So if you believe that we are born again and again and again, then certain things that happen to me in this life will be impacted by what happened in my last life. So if I did certain good things, they will cause certain results to happen to me in this life. And that can explain why these things are happening and why I'm in my role, right? So maybe I was a musician in my last life. And if I want to be happy in this life, I will have to accept that there's something in me that wants to do music, right? Even though I feel I should do this or have other things, there's something from my past that is pushing me in that way or in some other way. So understanding karma can help us understand a little bit about, accept certain things in my life. So maybe certain suffering, certain pain is happening to me. Or I find myself in certain painful situations, maybe with people or, So maybe there doesn't seem to be any way I can understand it. It just seems like bad luck, but it's not. In my past life, maybe I had some interactions with this person, or I did certain bad things to someone or to people in general, and which we all probably did, In our past life, we did some good things, some bad things, and I have to finish that business in this life. I have to fulfill the desires that are coming from the last life. I have to solve the problems that were created in the last life. I have to find peace, or I find conflict with certain people. So I think understanding karma can help us accept where we are, who we are, and why certain things are happening to us. And to know that, from the yoga perspective, if you don't go through your past karma, you can't advance to the next stage. If you don't satisfy some long desire, it will hold you back in the end. So sometimes you just have to accept these things and go through them. So I think being happy with your role, accepting your role, understanding why certain things are happening. Of course, we can change things, but we also have to accept the influences that have come from our past lives. So maybe to conclude it all, our bigger role as human beings is to assist in the transformation of consciousness and to do it in a better way, to realize that we are all looking for absolute consciousness, absolute happiness. Look for that in the right place, which is through meditation, through spiritual practice, through spiritual practice. And having satisfied that desire or found a way to do that, that will enable us to be able to cooperate more, share more, to live in a limited world without trying to express our infinite happiness there. And then on the personal level, to ask ourselves those questions. What do I enjoy doing? What am I good at? What does the world need? What can make me money? And also to accept where I am by understanding that a lot of what is happening to me is because of past karma, and that I have to go through that. Okay. After we stopped answering that question about what is the role of human beings in this world, I remembered an important thing that I forgot to say. So we discussed that human beings transform matter into consciousness, and that this is what's happening in the universe. We're supporting, that's our role in the universe, is to assist in this primary activity of the universe to transform matter into consciousness. And the point that I forgot was to say that when we do spiritual practice, when we do meditation, when we focus our minds on something spiritual, we are transforming our mental wavelengths from kind of materialistic wavelengths to spiritual wavelengths. So, in fact, one of the best things that we can do to fulfill our role as human beings to transform matter into consciousness is to do meditation and to do spiritual practice. Think about it. When you meditate, you start off with an agitated wave, which is a result of thinking about, all the problems in the world. You withdraw your mind from that. You focus on this beautiful spiritual thought, only love everywhere. And that wavelength changes from this to this, right? So and no other creature can do that, So we are, and the result of doing that is not only our personal happiness, but also a calmer, more peaceful world, a greater sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, connectedness with nature, love for nature, and, all the good things that are not only good for us, but also good for the planet. So a simple addition to what I was saying was that the role of human beings, therefore, is to do spiritual practice, right? That fulfills our personal needs. It fulfills the mission of the universe of transforming matter into consciousness, and it transforms the way we love and relate and behave to our fellow creatures. So I think that's a very important addition.